Writing is hard. The process of not only conveying thoughts and feelings through words, but making that comprehensible to a wide audience is one of the most challenging things that a human can do. There is a reason that not every book is a New York Times bestseller. Oh. Well. Okay, besides that, I think the point still stands that communication through written word is tough, and in the case of film, extremely taxing when you take into account not only studio executives and legal mandates with contracts and the like, but for the Star Wars prequels in particular, you have a huge legacy to uphold and millions, if not billions, of fans to please. And if I'm being honest, while my thoughts on these movies individually haven't changed, my outlook on this trilogy as a whole has. Essentially, seeing these movies for the first time made me begrudgingly appreciate the works of George Lucas for what they were trying to accomplish, which was to create a narrative that takes you through the fall of Anakin Skywalker and the origin of Darth Vader. And this trilogy does that successfully. Although debatable on the quality, it does fulfill that goal, which leaves the question that the internet loves to ask: are these movies better than the sequel films? No, they aren't. Individually, the best I could say about these is that Ewan McGregor sometimes does a good job, and they gave us the Clone Wars cartoons and a shit ton of memes. But if we're being honest, I think that they do a better job expanding the universe, even if it is in the dumbest, most boring, contrived ways, and actually having a narrative reason to exist in comparison to the sequels, which are pretty disjointed as a whole. I mean, they didn't even have a plan going into them, which you could definitely tell. So, yeah. Honestly, I'd say that my overall review on the prequels, from the perspective of doing what they were meant to do, is that they're better than the sequels, which, although are way better individually, like each of those movies are like 7s, 8s out of 10, but I think personally for me the Rise of Skywalker is like a 6 or 5. But even though that individuality was nice, they couldn't beat the combined forces when taking into account new viewers. Honestly, the prequel movies they make sense from a narrative standpoint, whereas the sequel movies, although they also kind of make sense, they just don't flow the same way. And if you're someone watching the prequels for the first time, a lot of the contrivances that I had with it, you wouldn't have, because you don't know that Palpatine is evil, and you don't know that Darth Maul comes back, and you know, there's just like a bunch of stuff in there that surprisingly kind of works. I mean, I've been a nitpicking asshole this entire time, but this trilogy is, while not good, definitely acceptable, and I see the point where people on the internet are coming about nowadays when, oh yeah, the prequels are redeemed now because the sequels were bad. I mean, they kind of are. Like, the individual movies, shit tier, but they were able to string together a narrative, no matter how bad, that the sequels just couldn't do. Now, that being said, on that same individual level, the third movie was so boring that I fell asleep 45 minutes in, and no, I'm not rewatching it. Fuck it, dude. Look, I've seen the memes. It was probably like a 5 out of 10, alright? Like, fuck it, dude. Tune in next time when we do a series that I actually care about, because this was kind of torture. These movies were so fucking monotonous. Like, yeah, sure, the overall story makes sense, but the way that they tell the stories is so fucking boring, dude. It's so bad. It's so terrible. Fuck Star Wars.
Your mom and dad, I'm doing fine. You guys